Hello, my name is Xavier Mercado, and this is Spearhead Conversations. Today, I'm joined by special guest Will the Barber Sanchez. For over 20 years, this man has been blessing the streets with the freshest cuts out here in Milwaukee. I respect him. Since graduating high school, he's made his name. He's made his imprint. And for here, the name of his shop is Legends, and it couldn't be any more true. For about a couple years now, we've been trying to make this interview work, and here we are. So without further ado, how you doing, Will?
What's up, Xavier? How you doing?
Man, man, we finally in the new shop.
Yeah, man. It's been a couple years. We've been putting it off for a little bit, but it's good to be here.
Yeah, I'm actually happy that, you know what I mean, before we ever agreed to actually doing it, like you wanted it to be just the right setting. And with this new shop that I'm looking all around, man, I'm just floored. I'm speechless.
I appreciate it.
And just seeing where your first location on Muskego was,
yes,
to where you are now.
Yeah, man.
Man, you're something that I look up to. You're the business all around, but you're also personable and something that I really, really respect. And I think this is going to be one of the more defining interviews on the platform. So I'm happy for you stepping on. You hear me?
Man, I really, yeah, it's good to be here, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. How you been otherwise? How's the week going?
Man, the week has been good. I'm starting to get back to actually working, not just building. So we're massaging our way back into getting normal. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we're moving right along. We're making some serious progress. Just being dad and Will the Barber right after that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, the boys are getting big.
Oh, yeah.
How old are the boys now?
Oh, Junior's going to be 17 this year.
Oh, my God.
Bro. And Willie will be 14 this year.
Wow, man. These kids, bro, they get it. Oh, man.
We should have listened to our parents when they said it goes fast, right?
For real, dude, man. You know, you think you know it all until the world actually hits you and then the reality.
Yeah, for real. Yep.
But I'm grateful for you stepping on the platform. I look at you as family, you know, just through the years, from getting cuts at the barbershop to just, you know, family parties, birthdays, celebrations. And I know we're gonna have to make something work for this Super Bowl.
I'm hoping if this place is what I know it could be, we'll probably be having something here.
There we go. All right. So with that being said, you ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So where were you born?
I was born right here, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Born and bred.
Born and bred? South side?
South side.
All right. What part of the South side?
As far back as I can remember, we lived right across the street from Allenfield, so 7th and Lapham, if I'm not mistaken.
My sister went to Allenfield for a year.
There you go.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's where it all started.
Hey. How was your childhood?
Man, it was good. I mean, I don't know how specific to be, but
what were the type of hobbies you were into during childhood? You know what I mean? Like,
no, I'm sure you could relate. We were outside kids, man. We were outside. You know what I mean? I had the school right across the street, which was nice. So if we wanted to get out there and play some kickball or something, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember, but pogs were a thing when we were little. So if you had like some potholes, which we did. Yeah. You know, we were playing pogs. We had the kickball, you know, soccer. We were outside kids, whatever we could get our hands on, really.
You know who was an infamous pog player?
Who's that?
My brother.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Rafi. You know what I mean? Man, the metal pogs to the slammers. That's what they call them. Slammers. But it definitely, it was, man, those are the times. Big gross in the graveyard. You know what I mean? We had the big willies back then. Yep. You know. What year were you born?
I'm 1989.
See, I'm 89 too. That's right. We graduated the same year.
Yes, sir.
What high school you graduated from?
Milwaukee, Hamilton.
All right. Rockets? No.
Wildcats.
But hey, bro, 07 all day, right?
Yes, sir.
Hey, yeah, man.
007.
How was it at Hamilton?
Man, I had an awesome high school experience, yes.
There's a lot of dudes that I knew that came out of Hamilton. I know my cousin Hector, he graduated 01 from Hamilton. That's way before we got into high school. Yeah. Man, it's just thinking like I grew up in South Milwaukee after we moved from the South Side. It was a good childhood.
There you
I
go.
liked it, you know.
Yeah.
But cutting hair is something that's always been a part of you.
Yes, sir.
What is your earliest memory of finding the clippers in your hand?
Man. Well, a lot of us when we were younger, our dads were cutting our hair, standing on the chair, tidy whitey standing on the chair in the middle of the kitchen,
Yeah, that's right.
No lining, no nothing. We were just catching the best our parents had for us. You know what I mean? But my uncle Carlos, as I got a little older, he was a heavy influence. He cut our hair, and I mean, when he cut our hair, he had us right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when the linings were in. We were putting the razors on. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I had a really cool barber it was called Platinum Cuts.
Dude, I remember Platinum, man.
Yes, man. And there was this dude that worked there, Anthony. Yeah,
Gotcha.
Puerto Rican cat. He was cool, man. He dressed cool. They had the cool music. You know what I mean? Really Hispanic Latino based. So,
Yeah.
it was like a part of, I don't want to say our identity, but it was like a part of our identity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The reggaeton, the Spanish music, the Spanish environment. Ladies come in selling food. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And Anthony was cool, man. And I just remember having a conversation with him, like, man, I'm going to be a barber too. One day I'm going to open my own place. And
How old were you? You think you were?
man, if I wasn't already a freshman in high school, I had to have been like 8th grade. So that age group, when the haircuts start really playing a role in how we care about how we look and present ourselves.
Man, let's do this for Platinum Cuts because, I got some cuts there, man.
Platinum Cuts, man. Everybody went to Platinum Cuts on the south side. Yep.
You already know. You already know. Well, living in the suburbs, having to travel all the way to the south side to get right, you know what I mean?
Well,
like
that just goes to show what those guys were already bringing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So long ago. People knew the name and they knew where to go.
Yeah. At what point do you feel like this is the point that action was going to take place and you picked up the clippers?
That's tough. I can't really put my finger on like a time frame, but I know that I asked my parents for a set of clippers for Christmas.
Yeah.
And at the time they had what was called like I think it was called the All-Star Pack or the Pro Pack. And it was like just a wall clipper and it came with a peanut and a clipper with all the guards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was like 13.
Damn.
So that, for perspective, you know what I mean? I got it for like Christmas when I was 13 and that was it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I popped them open and went and destroyed my cousin Danny's hair right upstairs like the same night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really bad decision, but we got started immediately.
So, now you picked up the clippers.
Yeah.
Here you are messing up Danny upstairs here.
Yeah, my cousin Danny, man, thank you.
And with enough practice and enough do-overs.
Yes. And a pissed off uncle.
And a bit, oh my
You know what I
God. You answer,
Everybody else left though, so I was on the right path from the jump.
Yeah. You entered the world of barbering.
Yes.
Where was your first gig barbering?
All right. So if we're not counting the basement and the kitchens, you know what I mean? It was a salon, man. My first gig was at a salon. And the way I was able to work that in was I took a college course in high school.
Yeah.
And we had to have community service hours. I was able to convince the instructor to let me do haircuts for free.
Wow.
And I found a salon that would allow me to do it. And that was my way of getting these community service hours.
Got you.
All right. And then it just ended up building from there to her allowing me to work on the weekends. You know what I mean? Yes. So my first big gig was not a barbershop. It was a hair salon with a bunch of women and a couple hairdresser men too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bomb Squad.
Oh, I all the way through. You remember the shop name? Or?
I do.
What it was the name?
It was called D Matrix.
D Matrix. Was that the one on? Man, that's on Lincoln.
No. It started on 27th in Greenfield.
Okay, got you.
But then they moved to I want to say 53rd and Forest Home.
Okay, got you.
Right.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, they're not there anymore. They moved up a block to a different building. But that was was the first spot, man.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Who do you feel, throughout this journey since the beginning have been your core mentor guides?
Mentor or guides?
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, it was probably like my Uncle Carlos. I looked up to him in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
He was cool. He was young. He dressed good. You know what I mean? And then the barber Anthony.
Yep.
Yep, Anthony Gonzalez, to be specific. You know what I mean? Yeah, they were cool, man. They dressed fly. You know what I mean? They were nice to me. You know what I'm saying? They weren't afraid to be like, hey, this is how you do that. Like, oh, this is cool. You know what I mean? You want to do this? Do it. You know what I mean? So I guess like pushing me in that direction would be that.
Yeah.
But support, of course, your parents. You know what I mean? But my big support, I have a cousin, Little Ray. He's actually my big cousin.
Okay.
But he's Little Ray. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, when I did get my first gig in a barber shop,
Yeah.
I think I was 14, and Little Ray was already working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he had a good job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was driving a forklift, and he was making good money.
Yep.
He took me to the beauty supply store on 6th and Mitchell, and he told me, get what you want. He didn't say get what you need. He said, you come in here, you get what you want. And he paid for everything for me.
Wow.
Bought me all my equipment.
Man.
You know what I mean? Yep. All of it to get me started in the shop.
So, throughout, your cousin Lil Ray,
Yeah.
taking you to get you all this equipment.
Yep.
You move into Supreme Clientele.
Supreme. Yep.
What was that like?
What was that like? It was crazy because there was no Instagram or Facebook. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get in there and people are like, "Nah, dude's new. I'm not going to him."
For sure.
You know what I mean? So it was. You really had to prove yourself, man. People had to watch you and see you.
It was gritty.
Oh yeah, man. And then the shop was full of all stars. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We had some guys in there like.
I'm trying. There was a dude named Abraham back in the day that used to cut my hair, and he was at Platinum Cuts.
Yeah.
And he cut my hair, and then all of a sudden he disappeared.
Yeah.
Never heard of him again. And I'm just like, damn, dude. He used to pull out the sharp blade, the razor.
Yeah.
And towards the end of the cut, shaving cream.
Yep.
Just shaved me right. And then there was another dude named, I think his name was Gato.
Yep, Gato.
Gato,
if I'm not mistaken, Gato was one of the owners of Platinum Cuts.
Yep. See?
And believe it or not, he was my parents' neighbor growing up. So yeah, he lived right by us. Shout out to Gato, man.
Yeah, for real.
Big influence to the South Side in the barber game.
We gonna give him his flowers right now. Yes. Man. So Supreme Clientele.
Yes.
What was that first day like?
That first day, man, I was a kid, and it's kind of hard to remember exactly, but I remember who the first person was that I cut their hair. You know what I mean? I remember that. I just remember, man, 2 hours sometimes to get the hair to where the customer was cool. Is that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I just remember being nervous, and my Spanish was never very strong, and there was predominantly Spanish speakers. You know what I mean? So it was a battlefield in itself. Showing up was a battle every day. You know what I mean?
These are the barriers my man had to go through.
Yeah, man.
Language, just showing up, because it's intimidating.
Definitely.
Especially back in that day, like you said, all these all-stars in the streets really cooking up, man. And it's the pride of the culture of what was. Yeah,
and the customers are, if somebody cuts a celebrity's hair, customers are just starstruck. You know what I mean? And right in the first chair was this guy named Max.
Wow.
And Max had a picture of him lining up Young Buck from G Unit. Hey, I remember being the new guy and sitting in that shop full of people waiting for Max. You know what I mean? Barber sitting down, not cutting anybody's hair, but waiting for him. We're waiting for him. You know what I mean?
Man.
There was a couple guys in there like that too. You know what I mean? Because Max, he was already gone by the time I got there. I just remember. You know what I mean? And
Man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm there after he left already. You know what I mean? So,
Well, you the new wave. Yeah. So how many shops did you go on to working in before you founded Legends?
so just 2 barbershops plus the first salon that I worked.
Oh, okay, got you.
So just 2 barbershops.
Barbershops. All right. So now you got your foot in the game.
Yes.
You settled in. Will the Barber is evolving.
Yes.
What inspired you to open up your own shop?
It's not nice.
Nah.
No. It's not nice. But I had worked at a place.
Yeah.
It was a busy joint. You know what I mean? It was kind of the spot. You know what I mean? And I don't know how to say it nicely, man, but the owner of the joint wasn't nice to me. Mm-hmm. You feel me?
Yeah, for sure, man.
He kind of like I don't know. He kind of like made me the butt of his jokes. And one day I came to work, and there was like a little closet space. Mm-hmm. And it was a busy day. It had to have been like a Friday or a Saturday.
Yeah.
I remember having a loaded book. I was busy. You know what I mean? And I get to work, and my station is cleared off. And I'm like, hey, man, like, where's all my stuff? He was like, hey, you're cutting in the closet today.
Oh, no.
So it wasn't like a closet where like you hang jackets or anything, but it was like a passage, and it was like narrow, and there was a station actually in there. And I was like, you know what? I'm busy today. I don't have time to argue. I got to get to work. So here I am plugging all my stuff in.
Yeah.
And at the time, I believe I'm 17 years old. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, you know what, man? Today's my last day. And it was my last day. I bust out my day in the closet.
Yeah.
And you know what? Let me move back. There was a guy that would come in the shop, and we would tip him. He would clean our stations and stuff. And I go, hey, can you put all my stuff back in my station, man? I'd appreciate it. And he goes, yeah, man. You know what I mean? I throw dude a 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Put all my stuff back. I appreciate you. And as I'm getting ready to leave, the owner of the place goes, hey, Will, you didn't talk to me, man. Put all your things back in the closet.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm packing all my stuff up. And I left like that. That was my last day at the establishment.
Man.
Yes. That was my last day at the establishment.
You know, good for you, number one.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Just a young man. That's a man boss moves.
Yeah, man.
You can't tolerate that type of disrespect.
Oh, man. Disrespect is never to be tolerated, bro.
And you know, the thing is, too, is that what you just told me is a lot what I deal with when I do these interviews.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
It's the ego.
Yeah, man.
You know, that's some people, it could be your best friend, but it also could be your worst enemy. So, you know, his loss.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
the guy still does all right for himself. You know what I mean? But
you know,
I don't think he realized he helped create a monster.
Oh, he created. You
know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So now you leave this shop.
Yes.
What was going through the mindset? What was the next move for you?
Actually, I was still living with my parents. You know what I mean? Like I said, I think I was 17 at the time.
Yeah.
And my parents had bought me like a chair. I had a space in the basement, and I had my clients coming in and out of there. There was a back door that went straight to the basement, and I was cutting hair out of my parents' basement. You know what I mean? But I had like a station on the wall with the mirror. You know what I mean? Pretty much the same as almost a shop would. You know what I mean?
How often? How long did you do that before you moved into the thought of, okay, now I'm gonna get my own shop?
Months. It was not long. Maybe 2 months.
Got you.
Yeah. I had been lucky to have people looking over me all the time to help me manage my money and be smart. So one day I'm out with a couple of friends test driving a car.
Yeah.
Right? A Chrysler 300. Those things were cool when they first came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So me and two of my homies and a car salesman are in a Chrysler 300 taking it for a test drive. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And my dad calls me. He goes, hey, still want to open your own shop? I'm like, yeah, Pop, of course. He was like, I have a friend with a space, wants to talk to you. I'm like, well, I'm test driving a car right now. He was like, come home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Did that, man, and That's where that first spot you were talking about on Muskego came from, man.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Dang.
I think that day we put a deposit down and he held the space for me.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's like it was supposed to happen.
It was.
Yeah.
Man, God is great.
Yep.
Man, that right there is where it starts. Because I think one of the biggest things of why I say I look up to you as a businessman is because how early on, I mean, we had just graduated high school and I already see you with your own business.
Yes, bro.
And it wasn't like, okay, we opened up this shop. I knew it took some time before you filled it up.
Yeah.
But it still came together. And by the time, you know, me being there, I mean, it was full blown.
Yeah.
It was full blown barbershop.
Yeah, man. It like I said, it was just it was like it was supposed to happen that way. You know what I mean? So the person who ended up having the space, his name is I don't want to say it bad, but he goes by Jojo.
Okay.
Jojo Hinawi.
Okay.
All right. So that's who owned the building that I ended up having my first shop in.
For sure.
And him and my dad go way back in friendship.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I went to go meet this Jojo guy for the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was a great guy, man. The guy pulled me aside. He said, "Hey, man, I don't have a son, but I got daughters. So let me talk to you like a son."
Yeah.
He said, "Don't ever be afraid to roll your sleeves up and get dirty. You got to work."
For sure, man.
You know what I mean? And he said, "You give me a deposit today, I give you 3 months for free to get this place up and going, and then you get your business."
You see that right there is when people have belief
Yes.
in you like this. That's all it takes.
Yes, man.
If it weren't for the first people that gave me the time and day just to come through, and you know, I go back and I listen to the original interviews I did and how far I've come, but I mean, people just took the chance of giving me the time and day. Mm-hmm. That's all it took. And here we are today, you know?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Legends, that's such a heavy name.
Yes,
like,
man.
You know what I mean? What inspired the name itself?
The name itself.
Yeah.
That I remember like it was yesterday. You know what I mean? I was sitting in my parents' living room, and I don't remember my mom was there, but I know my dad was definitely there, and we're just spitballing names to each other, going back and forth. You know what I mean? And, you know, me being young, I'm thinking, you know, headshots, sharpshooters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there were some good names out there already taken, so I wanted to be different. And my pop is the one who thought of it.
Oh, really?
Legends Barbershop. My dad.
Yeah.
My dad spit it out, and it's.
Your dad keep coming in, man. Your dad clutch, bro.
Hey, man. Hey, if shout out to my dad.
Hey, look, I'm gonna do this one for the guy who took a chance on you, and I'm also gonna do this for your pops.
Yeah.
Because it's beautiful, man. This is men helping create men that now is thriving, have succeeded, and now from just creating wealth in the now.
Yes, man.
Now you're creating generational wealth. That's so huge. Let's do this. I'm gonna do that for them, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
I'll tell you. So he's the one who thought of Legends.
My dad literally said the name in his living room, and I was like, "That's it, Pop. That's the one."
Yeah. At that moment, what was that feeling?
It's like naming your kid, man. That's it. That's, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
For sure.
Right? You know, there's some dynamic things that happen in your life where like, this is it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that was one of those moments. That was like that was like the light bulb that goes off. You know what I mean? You're just like, that's it. You know what I mean? And then it goes from, we'll hang up pictures and posters of like, you know, legends of all kinds. You know what I mean? You know, we had the big Michael Jordan up there. We had the collectible like Bo Jackson and those sorts. You know what I mean? We had a lot of sports figures up there.
I'd love to shop.
Yeah, man.
I honestly, man, some of my best memories getting cut is going in on Saturday mornings. You know, either you or RJ was the main barber for me back then. But
shout out RJ.
Shout out RJ.
Shout out RJ.
Man, you know, and he's still with you till this day.
Man,
that speaks volumes, man.
That's my other big brother.
Man,
you know what I mean?
So it's Saturday mornings. I'd go in there, and it was It was the vibe, man.
Yes.
It was the conversations.
Yep.
It wasn't small, but it was comfy.
Yeah.
It was a
It's
night.
a part of you.
Exactly.
It's a part of you. You know what I mean? It's a community. It's like you said. It's the conversation. It's the music. It's the people, man.
It was
You know what I
there.
mean? It's the people that make the product. You know, it's never the product.
Man, it just goes to show, just the work you've put in.
Thank you, bro.
All these years, how do you feel Milwaukee has contributed to the success of the shops you've had, starting with Muskego?
Okay. I think it's man, a lot of it's just luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's meeting the right people at the right time and making yourself available for it. You know what I mean? Our popularity kicked off kind of heavy. You know what I mean? And I'm not to boast or anything, but it's like we got in with like some club owners completely by accident. You know what I mean? Just by being good people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those guys, they went hard for us. You know what I mean? The bigger clubs in Milwaukee. Our support groups between our family and friends. You know what I mean? You were there. You know what I mean? It was just man. It wasn't even us. It was our community. It was our tribe, man. Between our family members and friends and the connections we were able to make. You know what I mean? The skill set was definitely there, but I mean, I could be honest and say there's at least one good barber in every single shop. And when I say good, I mean like, whoa, good. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like there's a good, you know what I mean? Like they're good.
Yep.
You know what I mean? At least one in every single shop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the skill set is part of it, but it's the community, man. It's having the right people around you. It's you know how you said it was that vibe that the shop put out, you know.
Yeah.
Like we take big pride in when women are in our shop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not to knock anybody, but it's commonly, expressed that women feel uncomfortable in barbershops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which makes sense.
does.
Barbershops is mostly a place for
Men.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, women get short haircuts and I mean all age groups, you know what I mean?
For sure.
But we have women come in and they love our shop. You know what I mean? We have open conversation because these guys are like my brothers. You know what I mean? So it's like open conversation. And we try to keep the shop really clean. You know what I mean?
That I've always respected. You've always
man.
set a standard.
Especially the bathrooms. You know what I mean? Like we want women to be able to come in here and be like, yeah, this place is nice. It's comfortable. And I'm not getting gawked at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What year was Legends actually founded?
What day did I grand open, maybe?
Yeah.
All right. May 8th, 2009.
2009.
2009.
There we go.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
I remember the day.
And here you are. So how many years was it in your location on Muskego?
Remember, I had 2 locations on Muskego.
Yep.
So I want to say we did,
In that first initial one.
I think 4 or 5 years before we moved to the one to the corner, the bigger one.
Yep.
And then we had a couple years there.
Moving on to that, you ended up opening up your next location.
Yes.
A fire broke out.
Yes.
And for most would throw in the towel.
Oh, man. I definitely felt like I threw it in. You know what I mean?
Nah, but you in the time, who could fill in the shoes that you had to fill in? And to be honest with you, somehow you did show not only the city, but the South Side that you were going to push through.
Oh, yeah.
What was in that moment when this fire broke out? What was it like for you?
I mean, there was a lot of negativity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how deep you want me to get into it, but like, it just goes to show sometimes how people take a negative narrative,
Yeah.
and try to make it sound like it was something planned almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was real ugly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you hear like it's from people that you thought were close to you.
Yep.
Which makes it all the worse. But I mean, I lost everything, and it's one thing if you gamble and lose. It's something if you make a bad decision and lose, but it's a whole nother thing when somebody takes what's yours.
For sure.
And it's like helpless. It's like it's a bad feeling, man. It's like, man, I'm good. I help. I'm generous. I try to do what's right.
Yeah.
And it's like they snatched it from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a real feeling of defeat, man. Because 1 minute you're hot,
Yep.
and then the next is like, man, I was just hot, and now it's not that I'm not, it's that it was taken from me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So it was
What sacrifices do you feel you had to make in order to essentially get back on the feet?
well, I had to go be just a practitioner at other places. You know what I mean? I worked at other people for other people, alongside other people, because, you know, technically we all work for ourselves, but I worked at different establishments that weren't of my own, and I had grown so accustomed of doing things my way, having my team, and it was just different, man. It's an eye-opener for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the beauty's in the pain, man. The beauty's in the darkness. That's where you learn. That's where you figure things out. You know what I mean? That's where you learn to maneuver, pivot. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You know, things were going good, but now we got to sidestep. Now we got to step back. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. There's no right way to say it, but you just got to keep going.
Yeah.
You can't throw that towel in. It might feel like it. It might feel like it, but it's like, you got to push forward, man. You got to keep going. Got to keep going.
It's also too many people depending on you, bro. Yeah. I know you put the weight on. You essentially ended up, you know, going about that. Then you opened your location on Forest Home?
Forest Home.
And you were there for quite some years.
Yes, 5 if I'm not mistaken.
Man, and now, here we are right now.
Yeah, man.
Man, from the floor to the seats. Look at these seats we in. Man, you have finally, I won't say finally, you've now come into what I would call more of a mature sense of doing the business you've done all along.
Yes, I feel that, yeah.
Man, what is it like standing in this building that, man, let me tell y'all, if you've got the grand tour of this building, you'd understand that this is big boy moves.
Man, thank you.
This isn't no small time. This is, I'm not gonna put the zeros out there, but this is well over. This exceeds a lot, if not all shops in the Milwaukee area. What is that like for you?
Stressful. Stressful, you know what I mean? It's a beautiful feeling, man. It's just like it feels like you win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's like I said, it's coming out of the darkness. It's that light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't think that. I definitely knew one day I'd own. You know, the goal is always to own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I paid rent my whole career. You know what I mean? So to finally own in a place like this, you know what I mean? There used to be a doctor's office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The building's 9,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. Man, it feels like I won. You know what I mean? It feels like all the hardship and all the struggle, you know what I mean? The stress again, you know what I mean? But it's like I needed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The beauty's in the pain. It's something I always got to like remind myself is because
I like how you said that the beauty is in the pain, man.
The beauty's in the pain, man. It's those sacrificing the partying and the fun and being with friends and you know, stepping back and seeing the future. You know what I mean? Trying to have some foresight in play for yourself, and really being not just humble but like disciplined, man. Because who doesn't want to have fun?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to travel? Who doesn't want the nice car? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially coming from more humble beginnings. Who doesn't want to? We all do. You know, it's all in there. So it's a really good feeling, man. It feels good, Xavier.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Again, these are the things that, this is what I look up to, because it's just like you're focused, you're here. The name is still alive. How many years altogether do you think Legend has under his?
Well, from 2009
to now,
you know what I mean?
You know what I mean? So here we are. I want to say this. You can't have it any other way. You can't.
No.
You've already set the standard. How do you feel you've evolved since the beginning till now?
That's a complex question, man. There's been a lot.
There's been a lot of,
There's been a lot, you know. I got to give a lot of it to becoming a father. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of the biggest things in life that's going to drive you is when you find that reason why.
Yeah.
A lot of us are lost. You know
For
what
sure.
I mean? A lot of us are lost, and that's okay too. We just got to take our time and make sure that if we're failing forward, or if we're falling forward.
Yeah.
And then when I had my son, that was my why. You know what I mean? That's beyond me. That's bigger than me. You know what I mean? So
that's how I feel.
Yeah,
too,
man.
You know,
I know it. I've watched you. I've watched you. I see it, man. And shout out to you, man. DDD. You know what I mean? Shout out to you, man, because you used to make me nervous, man.
Yeah, bro. From Biden to now.
Yeah, man.
No, but you know, with all my kids have had their impact on me. It was my youngest is the one that was the nail in the coffin for just the version of who I was.
Yeah.
But I see that with you too. I mean, very, like I say, your family.
Yeah, man.
The kids playing on the basketball teams, the birthday parties, like it's just we're cemented in it.
Yeah, man.
It is what it is, man.
It's that purpose. You know what I mean? It's everything you do is not just for you anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just grateful for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's what
it's there.
Yeah, even when you're like, maybe I could just do something else, or no, you can't.
Nah.
You know what I mean? You got.
It's the why.
Yep.
It's definitely the why.
It's that why factor, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So with the shop you have now, how would you describe the culture in here?
The culture in here?
Yeah.
It's exactly what you said. It's about the evolving.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We are not an urban shop. We are not a franchise shop.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We strive to serve anybody that comes in the door. You know what I mean? We're comfortable for anybody. You know what I mean? Conversation, music. You know what I mean? We're not playing the loud music with the cuss words anymore. You know what I mean? My ultimate goal is to lay out that red carpet, man. These people pay my bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not about fly outfits and clothing anymore.
Yeah.
You feel me?
It's about being comfortable,
Yeah,
bruh.
yeah. Not just that, but it's just like providing that place for people. You know what I mean? We all get so locked into our lives, man. You know what I mean? There's work. I got to wake up. And let's be honest, most people aren't very fond of that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They doing what they got to do to survive.
Exactly, just to get by.
You know what I mean? So it feels good to be able to provide that space where people could come here and they can listen to the music and they can laugh. And you know what I mean? And we're giving candy to our friends who have kids now. You know, we're dads now.
Yeah,
you know
that's right. I mean? That's right.
You know, so we're slapping fives with 5-year-olds. You know what I mean? You feel me?
Yeah, you dang right.
So it's like it's growth, man. It's that race that never ends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's no winner. It just keeps going. You know what I mean? We're gonna hand off that baton someday, and we're just hoping to leave that good vibe behind. You know what I mean?
That type of energy.
Yeah, man.
Mentorship. You know, you have a lot of young barbers coming into the game still. That doesn't change.
Yeah.
What is the importance of that in the shop that you run now?
When I take someone in,
Yeah.
I think it's the sense of family, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's that comfort level, letting people know, like, whatever's going on in here, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When my customers, clients, family, friends, all the same thing. You know what I mean? When my son walks in, guess what? He shakes everybody's hand. How you doing? What's up? How you doing? Boom, boom.
Yeah.
You need anything? My son. And their kids too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now let's take it to just like the clients. You know what I mean? These guys work jobs and got families of their own and lives of the outside these walls. You know what I mean? But they come in here and they say, "What's up?" to everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's when we bring someone in, they have to kind of fit that. You know what I mean? You got to be okay with, I don't want to say strangers, but yeah, you got to take these strangers in and, you know, be good.
Yeah.
It don't cost nothing. You know what I mean? Be a good person. Put goodness out. It's going to come back. It's going to come back. You know what I mean? So mentorship, we got a young guy right now, 17 years old. You know what I mean? He's being sponsored by MPS, which is crazy. Super cool. You know what I mean?
Fire.
My mom's handling the case, which is super cool. Yep.
Look, it's a family business.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you know what I mean? And the kid is a great kid, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Really humble beginnings. But we get man, I don't want to put him out, but my mom will text us like, "Man, this guy says he really loves the shop and what you guys are doing for him, and he looks forward to it." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference, man. I think when it comes to the mentorship, it's not just me. You know what I mean? It's my guys, my team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. We're like a family in here. You know what I mean? These guys are like my brothers. We hang out outside of here. We make investments together. My son calls them uncle. You know what I mean? And, and vice versa. You know what I mean? We run this like a family, man. Mm-hmm. And that's what separates us from everybody else.
There we go.
You know what I mean? We try to put that out for everybody.
Well, you know, with this building that you just invested in,
yes,
9,000 square feet is not little.
It's a big building. And
with it being, like you said, an old medical, what was it? What type of medical was it? It was.
It was like a full blown doctor's office.
Doctor's office.
We still get people that show up like,
yeah,
I'm here for my appointment. Like, no, you know, they're not here anymore.
Not here.
You know what I mean? If I'm not mistaken, it was called Pro Healthcare.
Okay, got you.
You know what I mean?
So, with that, what are the type of plans that you have for the available space? Because even the space you're using for the barbershop, that's nothing compared to the available space that is in the building. What are the plans?
Man, the plans, I'm kind of all over the place, to be honest. I'm open to a lot of ideas. I'd love to be able to work with more people like myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People with vision and people with dedication and people that are, you know, driven, family, strong in morale. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to get too specific because I don't have anything really lined up.
Yeah.
But I have a couple ideas. You know what I mean? I've spoken with some good people with some good potential.
Yeah.
But right now, my dad's back there painting walls, painting murals. You know, my dad's getting in touch with his old self again. You know what I mean? Which is a beautiful thing, man. My dad painted a beautiful picture in the back.
Isn't it beautiful how it could come around full circle?
Man. A lot of this, you know, I can't say it enough, man. My pop,
he had a big part in what
man, my dad's the man.
But isn't that what fathers are supposed to be to their children? You know?
I'd like to say yes, man, but I mean, I can't put that on people. But I'd love to say like, yeah, man, I when it comes down to it, a lot of times in conversation, I tell people like, I have an unfair advantage on you. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'll be like, my dad has been present my whole life.
Yeah.
And that's huge. I don't think people understand.
People
You know what I mean? Because even when my dad didn't know he was teaching me, I was learning from him.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it shows with the way you're raising your boys right now. You know what I mean? And
I appreciate that.
And you're a great father. We all know that.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
And that's what gives more to the family feel that's in this building.
Yes.
And the male presence in a child's life, believe me, I'm going, I'm going through it right now.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to show up. I'm still going to fight. And I'm still going to be there for mine.
Yeah, bro. My dad was an awesome father. He provided all his life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who knows the sacrifices and the battles he had to fight in quiet and darkness by himself. You know what I mean? Especially coming from that time frame, you know? There weren't a lot of resources like now. There weren't, you know, there wasn't, you know, I don't want to say therapy, but therapy is a huge one today. You know what I mean? Therapy is a huge, like, the burdens our parents carried.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure a lot of people could relate. You know, my dad dropped out of school to work to help pay bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My dad, part of his identity is providing. You know, my mom too. You know what I mean? Yeah. My mom too. But, I mean, the love a mom gives is, you know, it's a mom's love. You know what I mean? When you're sick and your mom rubs your back, there's some magic in that. You know what I mean? That, you know, dads can't do that.
Nah.
But, you know, I remember very specifically a conversation I held with my dad.
Yeah.
It wasn't nice. But I remember being in my dad's house, taking care of customers, and getting into a spat with my dad.
Okay.
And my dad had to pull me aside. He said, look around you. You see this house? He said, I did all this without the education you have. And I promise you that's been a driving force in my life. Because I'm like, man, I don't know what this man had to do to get here. You know what I mean? So that I could get where I'm going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know how we all have that voice of reason in the back of our mind? You know what I mean? Whether it be good or bad.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Or yeah, you know, go ahead and do that. A lot of the times, that voice is my dad's voice. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? A lot of the time, it's my dad like, hey, it's probably not a good idea. You know what I mean?
Well, his influence is definitely reflected upon you.
100%.
What do you feel is the future for you and Legends?
The future of me and Legends is getting more involved with the community.
Yeah.
Being not just a voice, but a force for especially people like me in growth and in development into not just adulthood, but anything, man. I got something big coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's gonna have to be especially with my Hispanic community in getting homes.
Okay.
Yes, I have a financial team that we can help even I-10 people close on homes.
Wow.
Yes, sir. That's the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A life of servitude is the future. You know what I mean? Helping people, all people. But I specifically get into the I-10 because, especially right now, as we can see, we're living in some funny times. You know what I mean? And I would love to be a part of the good in that. And hopefully there's a future in that. Man,
I commend you. Hats off, salute. It's big. And foundations are, you know what I mean? Though that's what thrives our youth. That's what is going to thrive this next generation, foundations.
Yes,
and
man.
for you to step into that role of, you know, helping.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a monumental, dog. We're going to throw up a statue for you, bro. But, you know, I always say this is the most important question of the interview. What advice would you give to aspiring barbers as well as our youth?
Yeah, man, that's pretty deep. And to be honest, I probably have two different pieces of advice for them. You know what I mean? And the barbers is you have to be all in, man. You can't treat this like a like a side job or a side hustle. You know what I mean? A lot of people like to go, oh, I cut hair on the side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you treat it like a side, that's how it would treat you too. You know what I mean? This is a career. This isn't a job. You know what I mean? This isn't a, it could be a stepping stone if you got something bigger in the future.
Yeah.
But I've literally made a living off of this. You know what I mean? So my advice to the barbers, aspiring barbers, is, man, if you're going to do it, do it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because the only way it's going to really benefit you and pay out the way you want it to,
yep,
is if you give it your all. Nice. And now for the youth as a whole, man, it's so tough, man.
Feel that.
Man, for the youth, I guess it would be to try to be present. You know what I mean? The internet is so easy. It's literally in the palm of our hands, on all our cell phones, our laptops, and it's to try to be present, man, because real life is what really matters. You know what I mean? Try not to get caught up in the social medias, because at the end of the day, no one's going to show you the building blocks on their social media. They're not going to show you the losses they've taken or the hard spots they've hit. You're going to see a highlight reels, and I don't want to call it fake, but it just looks so
Animated.
easy. It
Animated.
looks easy.
Yeah.
But the truth is nothing worth having is easy.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Instant gratification is,
Woof.
yeah, it's a thief.
Yep.
That instant gratification will leave you empty.
I tell everyone, you only see the finished product.
Yes.
You don't see what goes in. You certainly, before we even started up, it's the setting up.
Yep.
It's the breaking down.
Yep.
Like I said, you see everything. You see the end product. You don't see what goes in. But yeah, man, I feel that, dude.
Yeah, man, it's that sweat equity. You know what I mean?
It's
that sweat, blood, and
equity,
tears.
Yeah.
That sweat, blood, and tears, you know what I mean? That you learn from the beginning. I mean, they tell you in the movies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It ain't easy, man. The internet makes it look like you could get rich tomorrow. Do it like this. It's not always what it looks like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so much work involved. There's so much behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And my advice would be to be present. You know, real life.
Yeah.
Real life. Learn. You know what I mean? Watch the people around you. Watch the mistakes that you see people make so you don't repeat them. My dad taught me that.
There we go.
That voice of reason in the back of my mind.
Yep.
Watch everybody. Learn from their mistakes so you don't repeat them.
For sure.
You know what I mean? That's probably the best advice I've ever gotten in my life. So if there's anything I could pass on, that would probably be it.
Wow. Man, I appreciate you so much, Will.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
We finally made it happen. We out here in the trenches.
Yeah.
What are ways people can connect with you?
You know, it's so funny after talking about the social medias, but I mean,
Yeah.
we have a social media platforms. We have a friend who handles that for us. You know what I mean? We have our Facebook, Legends Barbershop 414.
Yep.
Our Instagram is the same.
Yeah.
The shop and the phone number. You know, we're on 57th and Lincoln,
Yeah.
West Dallas, Milwaukee. We ain't hard to find, man.
We here.
We're here.
We here.
You know
We
what I
cut. Catch me outside. No, I'm just kidding. No, but man, I appreciate you so much.
No, thank you, Xavier, man. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And, I'm literally about to start sweating. You know, this wasn't easy for me. So I appreciate you having me, and I appreciate finally getting it done too. You know what I mean?
Definitely. But I appreciate you as always. With that being said, Spearhead out.